All right, we've got Slade Monroe here, my student from Argyle. I had you back in the day in Money Matters, right?
Yes, that was probably what 5 years ago or so.
Yeah.
I'm junior now, and I was a sophomore then. So
Yeah. So are you still
a long
using
time.
all of the money, the Dave Ramsey envelope system? You still using all of the philosophies that you learned in that class?
Oh, absolutely. Stocks and bonds. That's my thing.
Yeah. Well, man, this is so great. We've got Slade in here. This is the movie he's in, 12 Mighty Orphans. You play a quarterback on here, and remind me, what is his name again in the movie?
So his name is C.D. Seeley, but he goes by the nickname Weedy.
Weedy.
Everyone knows him by Weedy.
That's
And
right.
yeah,
And you played quarterback at Argyle, right?
no. I played theater and bench warmer.
Okay.
So no.
And and watching you throw the football, I mean, it really looked like the old, I don't know if that was a double for you or if that was you, but it felt like the old timey quarterback throw.
We watched a lot of film from the early 40s and 50s to kind of get the feel of the time period and to understand like their technique, because the technique back then was vastly different than it was now. And even when you look at the linemen, their stances are more like on the heels, squatted down, and kind of like a box. They look like a box, and the throwing form was way out here, just as you saw in the film,
Right.
rather than kind of the tucked back of modern times. And so yeah, that was definitely a deliberate move to make it more nuanced.
So did any of the Argyle football players reach out to you and be like, I mean, I mean, that's such a funny thing because it's such a historic program. Argyle football is so serious and all of that. And here you are playing a football player in a football movie.
I had tremendous response from my hometown.
Yeah.
There were plenty of people who reached out to me and were telling me how wonderful this is. And it was really heartwarming to, talk to people who I haven't talked to in a really long time, but were, giving genuine congratulations.
Now you were in boy, it's funny, Slade, the first time, I knew I had you in my class, but to be honest with you, and I want to say this as nicely as possible, you were kind of under the radar. You didn't really you answered questions, you were polite, you turned in work, and I didn't know a whole lot about you. And then I take my kids to see Grease, and here you are in Greece. Let me get down. These are some great gallery shots of you, by the way.
These are all photos from probably about 4 years ago. I think that the earliest one I'm 18 in, but yeah, we're getting into some youthful stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we come out of there, and my kids are like, "Go Grease Lightning, a quarter mile." They're doing they're singing, and I'm like, that kid is in my Money Matter, like that's Slade Monroe. And I think you said something that you had a part in it or something. I had no idea you were going to be up in front singing and having such a big role in there. How did the theater world of Argyle help prepare you for Hollywood?
So being in theater and film are two completely different beasts. They require switching technique, essentially. The theater is very much open, and you have to play to the person who is the furthest in the back, because you have to be understood by every single person in the room.
Yeah. And
film is extremely up close and personal. And so it's kind of more of a reserved feeling, one where you have to kind of like come from within and have a genuine connection with just one person, and that person is the camera. So theater did help me with how to act with my body. I certainly learned how to move properly, because acting isn't just with your voice and with your eyes. It is also a full body activity. Mm-hmm. However, when it comes to the film, a lot of, or actually, I would say most of my credit goes to a woman named Catherine Sullivan at Catherine Sullivan's acting studio in Louisville, Texas. Okay. She's the person who really did teach me how to like hone in my abilities and kind of connect on a deeper level.
Now, is this okay? I'm sorry. I was looking for some background info, and so this is
Yeah.
not the same person. Okay, this is your talent. This is the talent agency that represents you, and the person you're
Yes,
talking about was the person who helped you with acting.
Yes, I'm currently represented by Kim Dawson Agency. My agent is Deanne Vernon. She's wonderful. She has treated me so well, and yeah. So right there, 12 Mighty Orphans. That's my first and only professional gig right now. But I've got confidence that the future will be truthful
What was
or
the
fruitful.
so how did you were going to college in Orange County.
Mhm.
You do you hear about the role? Are you in acting at your college? How does the audition happen, and what was it like?
So the audition process was pretty long, actually. I originally got the script. Well, I didn't get the script. I got the sides. A side is just a small portion of the script that you're supposed to perform. So I didn't really have a whole lot to go off of. I had about 6 pages worth. And so I had gotten my first audition in April of 2019.
Okay.
So it was right at the end of my senior year of high school. And um, at that point, I actually had a concussion, funnily enough. And so I had gotten my audition, and my agent had called me stating, "Hey, can you come in 2 days to the agency? We have the casting director coming in for this film, and we'd love you to like actually come to the agency to perform it." So I was like, "Wow, yeah, I absolutely I'm going to be there." This has never happened before. I'd either gone to like small casting spots or have done video auditions. So this was the first time I was coming to the agency, which was very unique. And so I did my audition, and I got to choose between two characters. One was Weedy, and the other was Fairbanks, who, if you remember in the movie, he's the one who has like the love interest. He's played by Levi Dillon, and so I had originally auditioned for the role of Fairbanks because at that time, like I said, I had a concussion, and Wheaties was 6 pages long, and Fairbanks was 3 pages long. And I had gotten through the first 3 pages, and I was like, I'm just exhausted. I can't, like, I didn't say I can't do this, I was holding it together, but I didn't make the mention that I could still do Wheatie.
Yeah.
And so skip ahead, I think 4 months or so, and I didn't hear anything back. And so I was gearing up to go to Chapman University when I had received an email 2 weeks prior to me leaving that, hey, you got a call back, but not for the role of Fairbanks, for the role of Weedy, which is great because I actually wanted Weedy.
Yeah.
And so I went to this, it was kind of like this cathedral looking place in Fort Worth. And I performed the role of Weedy in front of my director, Ty Roberts, along with several other producers, including Houston Hill, who are fantastic. I loved working with them. And so I performed it, and then I had left the scene, and I was kind of like driving back with my mom, and I was like, yeah, I feel really good about this actually. And so I go to college I think 3 days later, and then I'm not hearing anything back. And on my second week in Orange County, California, I get another call from my agent saying, hey, we need you back in Texas for the chemistry reads, which the chemistry reads is where you get all the actors you think you're going to work with and kind of mix and match them to see.
You have chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry. Yeah. And so I was like, wow, this is incredible. I never made it this far up until this point. And so I came back to Texas. I did it. And I had flown back to Orange County after, like, the next day because I had classes and whatnot. And Skip had 2 weeks. And by the way, that was the longest 2 weeks of my life. I was like, come on, like, I was checking IMDb every day. I was looking up for any just hint that either I got it or I didn't.
Right.
And so, yeah, on my 4th week at Chapman University, I got the call from my agent that I had gotten the role of Weedy.
Man, that's incredible. I mean, and by the way, I want to show that was your IMDb, by the way, which is
Yeah.
super cool to have an IMDb, like so awesome. I mean, I'm like a fanboy here, buddy. Sorry. I think this is so cool what you're doing. Here is a
Thank you.
clip. I want to show a clip from your movie. And this is a scene where your mom had dropped you off early in the movie. And I don't know that I can't remember if we all were getting all of the parts, but she comes in to take you home from the orphanage. This is an orphanage where these football players are at.
I missed him. Look at you. You're so tall. Man. How old are you?
17. Been almost 10 years now since the day you dropped me off.
I'm so sorry. I never should get any of it was this time. After the father left, I didn't know what to do. You know, see this coming Thanksgiving with us. Family again. It's very nice, but you get to know. Come on, baby, you get your things in this. Today.
That's not my name anymore. Look, get the damn kid and let's go. Yeah. I'm gonna be in the car.
It's pretty incredible. I know you're about to get even more explosive there too. I probably can even go on farther, and you really let her hear it here. And just like, how do you gear yourself up for a scene like that? I mean, that is a really emotional scene. There's tears, there's all sorts of stuff going on there.
It takes a lot of, I think I have a really good sense of empathy, and it takes and that thing was just kind of a situation like, well, what would I do if I were in that situation? And
Yeah.
of course, I can't ever relate to 100%, because that's not my life. I've had a very good one, and I have a great relationship with my mother. So I was just kind of thinking in that moment, what if I hadn't, and what if she were actually the one that was slapping me? And which, by the way, it's probably best to say that right where we pause, I get slapped in the face several times.
Yeah.
So.
Let me go back to it. Hold on a second. Let me go back to this again. I want to make sure I wasn't showing too much of your movie here, but this is really good.
Come back to me. I am your mother.
Hey, now,
In
hold
the
on.
car. Baby, come to the car, darling.
I mean, incredible stuff, man, and totally incredible. I mean, were those real slaps? Did she really hit you?
Those were very real slaps. I spent all day getting hit. Yeah. So first off, it is easy to act to that degree when your counterpart is so great. Her name's Lucy Faust, and she was wonderful. She's not anything like that. She's like the sweetest lady on the planet. And so we took a moment out of our day to meet and greet and go over the scene and like work it out together. And then we practiced the slaps. And yeah, she started it out. It was just a little tap. I was like, no, Lucy, like, put some elbow grease into it. I'll be fine, I promise.
Right.
And it's just, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no. It's for the scene. We got to do it this way.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so we got to the day, and I think we did the scene probably 6 or 7 times. So I was slapped roughly 18, 21 times. But do what you got to do.
And you see Luke Wilson at the end of that scene there, and his head pops in there at the very end of what I'm showing there. I mean, you are in a movie, sir, with Luke Wilson, who's from Dallas. He went to St. Mark's, and I heard. And by the way, I heard about your movie through he was on Dax Shepard's podcast, The Armchair Expert. You're in a movie with Martin Sheen, who is the president of the United States in The West Wing. He's in Apocalypse Now. I mean, he's like a legend. Robert Duvall. Oh my gosh, these guys are not like lightweights. These are like legendary like performers in Hollywood. What is it like to be in a scene with them?
It was an incredible experience to see the different ranges that all of my co-stars showed me, because I was in a group of 12 young guys from 18 to 25, and so we're all still to a degree trying to figure out our acting style and approach. And then you see Luke, who is like kind of like midway through his career, and he brought such a presence to the set every day. First off, he's just like, he's a great guy. He really is. He's so funny. He's such a funny guy and lighthearted. And it was, to be able to be in his presence in that scene. I mean, this is one of the best roles I've seen him in. And I think he absolutely killed it. And Martin Sheen, he was 79 when shooting. I believe he's 80 now. And for an 80-year-old, I'm just shocked at the energy that he brings, that the energy that he has. And he truly is a master of his craft. And so as a young actor, you wonder, how do people age so gracefully in the industry, as someone like Martin? And he made it like seem pretty simple. First off, he's dedicated to the craft, and also he's just a fantastic person to be around. It was the kind of like he took us all under his wing to a degree, and there was no intimidation tactics. It was just like it was like an apprentice and a sage, and he just has so much wisdom too about the industry. With Robert Duvall, though, I only met him for one day. So he showed up for one day of shooting, and I talked to him a little bit. We only talked about college football, which was cool. But truthfully, I know more about the NFL than I do about college ball. So I was just kind of sitting there like just soaking it all in. I mean, I'm talking to Robert frickin' Duvall about about college football. What's cooler than that? He's a living legend. So, but it was a perfect first experience for I guess a blossoming actor, for lack of a better term.
Now, are you a Seinfeld fan? I mean, I am a Seinfeld crazy person. So having Wayne Knight, on there, I just Newman. I mean, hello Newman. I mean, does he get that on set? Did people do Seinfeld references to him or anything?
Seinfeld is a little past my generation, and so I know him better from Jurassic Park, which I guess roughly is like is also a little bit past my generation. But and I never really watched. I haven't watched Seinfeld yet, so I knew him as the guy in the Jeep with the dinosaur. And
like yes.
But he it was funny because we were at the premiere, and I was talking to Wayne. It was Jacob Laughlin, myself, and him,
Yeah.
and we were outside of the elevator, and we hadn't seen Wayne in the last year and a half, and so we we're just having a casual conversation, and we get into the elevator, and this guy, he nudges us and goes, "Do you know who that was?" That's Newman. We're like, yeah, we know who he is.
Oh.
Yeah, we worked with the guy. He's cool, but he's also cool. It's crazy because he's such a menacing character in 12 Mighty Orphans, but he's of course he's not that way even
Right.
slightly. He's kind of the guy that you can sit back in a lawn chair with and just kind of just discuss whatever. And I guess a lot of the the biggest thing is just like these actors are people, they're just like,
I mean, he's one of the most colorful characters on the most famous network show of all time. I mean, the Seinfeld set ratings that was just nuts. I mean, I started watching Seinfeld when I was in high school and finished when I was out of college, and just time after time. I mean, Seinfeld was the best. I still watch it now. I watch a ton of episodes now. But we get the movie, we get the premiere, and I had let's see here, I have you here as well. Let me see, make sure there's no ads.
So I play Weedy. He's the quarterback of the Mighty Mites, and he's a defender. He's a natural leader. He's first on the field, last off kind of guy.
You said you're from here, so where are you from specifically?
So I grew up in Argyle, Texas, and so I lived there for the first 19 years of my life. And
So is this cool? How cool is this to be able to have oops, sorry, right page here, the premieres and all of this kind of stuff? I mean, this has all got to be just like, I mean, how do you prepare for stuff like this to come in and be able to I mean, it's just such a cool event.
Yeah, I was I don't even really know how to describe it, because it was like the event after a year and a half of of the pandemic and being quarantined, and then all of a sudden here I am on a red carpet and engaging in conversation, and it really was a dream come true. It's just nice to know that I've had these dreams from such a long time. It's nice to know that my childhood self would be proud, that I did succeed in that. And so but being there on the day and just kind of and seeing everyone again was, I mean, that those 48 hours were probably some of the best I've ever had, because we all became buddies on set, the 12 Orphans. And when we saw each other after nearly 2 years, it was like we fell right back into where we were at before, as if nothing had ever changed. So
right. And I went on here, I did some research too, just to see kind of maybe where you were interviewed and different things, and you went on some of these different people, these different platforms to do interviews and all this kind of stuff. Is this all kind of expected of you, or is this stuff that did they ask you to do any of those kinds of things, or how does that all work?
So I signed with a publicist after 12 Mighty Orphans. My agent got me in contact with someone named Brandy George, and she basically was a person who sent my my reel out and resume out, and to various different podcasts and interviews and the like. And so, there was probably about a month and a half span where I was just kind of talking or filling out questionnaires. And that was a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoyed talking about the experience, because it was such a great experience for me, all the way around. I made lifelong friends. I achieved a lifelong dream. This is my passion. This is my love. And so, it was.
So let's say, for instance, I've got the 17-year-old who's sitting in my classroom right now, and they are pining for this kind of opportunity. They are saying, man, I want to be on the cover. I want to be on the back cover of this thing. I want to work with Luke Wilson. I want to work with, with Newman and Martin Sheen and everybody else. what's the path? I mean, what does a 17 need to do to prepare themselves, or maybe to make the right contacts, or what?
It's all about the dedication to the craft. It is, if you're going at it from the angle that you're, wanting to be famous and, be a star or whatever, it's not going to happen, because that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, dedication to what you do and fine tuning your abilities is ultimately the number one.
Yeah.
But the number two, it's surrounding yourself with the right people who challenge you, as well as, as support you.
Mhm.
I think one of the best things that I ever did was going to Catherine Sullivan's, because I was surrounded by such phenomenal actors all the time that I had to bring my A game every day. And she's a brutally honest teacher, and and can be harsh, but in the best way possible. Like that sounds wrong, but the things that I didn't do right were pointed out in complete honesty, and that is the best
Right.
possible thing. And also the things that I did correctly, I was rewarded to some degree. That they were equally as pointed out. So I had a phenomenal mentor.
Yeah.
I had peers who were challenging me, and in that mix, I found an agent who really cares about
Yeah.
my career. So it's, but I think one of the best pieces of advice that I could give is just step a little bit outside your comfort zone every day. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be grandiose, but just do it enough so that, when you get comfortable with it, then you can expand your boundaries just a little bit more. And you
Yeah.
do that every single day. We're on this planet, if all goes well, for 80 years or so. You got a lot of time to keep improving. And so all it takes is just a tiny bit. Don't stress on the big picture yet, because I know when I was 17 and 18, I was really stressing about it. But at that point in my life, I didn't really know what I was doing or going on. But now I'm a little bit more experienced, and taking things from a slightly slower approach.